A moment of your time, if you would? Commander, I'm glad I managed to intercept you before we left. There's something of utmost importance I wish to discuss. Relax, Commander. You are not under my authority to judge. Though if you were, that phrase alone would have certainly seen you hauled off to mental refreshment. I received a message from a close friend of mine, Virgil. He was my co-protege under the Supreme Arbiter. His message claimed he had information relevant to the Supreme Arbiter's death. He wishes to meet with me at the Vox Relay on Paradise Island. You asked before, and I did not mention it. But with Virgil's message, I now must warn you. Our greatest suspect in the Supreme Arbiter's murder is the Protectorate's consul. Very good. I hope we shall see him at your earliest convenience. I feel this shall most certainly set our investigation into motion.
Moment of your time, Commander. Remember that matter on Cloister I mentioned earlier? Well, since we're here and all, thought we might take it up now. Might be hard to believe, but 20 or so odd years ago, I made a mistake. Feels like high time I righted it. Now I'm out and about again. That's where the error occurred, I believe. Others judged it such. I shut it down. Believe I was wrong to do so. For many years now, a former colleague of mine's been in a remote spot called Reasons Pass, on account of my decision. Hardly. Quite the opposite, in fact. She's one of the finest minds to ever grace the Order. Her research was unconventional, surely. She was as well. I think with both, we could right things, get the Order back on its intended path. Do appreciate it, Commander. This weather is quite conducive for cooling the archive, and unconducive for me feeling my fingers.
What could possibly be keeping the repair personnel so long? Oh, greetings. By any chance, did you happen to encounter the repair personnel I dispatched to Resistor Bank 2789B12? Our new JTY-1030 resistor banks are built with enough durability to suffer through a tremendous amount of misuse. But the brutish handling by the Protectorate is too much for it. The misuse is causing moisture uptake, which causes the resistors to give off more heat. In the snow, that means more moisture, which means even more heat. I'm sure you can observe that the problem is cyclical in nature. I don't suppose you'd be willing to aid me in fixing this? It's down in the valley just southwest of the archive. The heat has liquefied all the snow off the glass surface. It is an easy location to observe. Ursopods, Protectorate forces, rogue scrappers, blizzards, mantisaurs, maybe even Auntie's choice forces. Truly a smorgasbord of unfortunate options. In the short term, it's wreaking havoc with the weather and causing small, localized blizzards. Long term, the archive would suffer irreparable damage to multiple systems. Undoubtedly, this would reduce its maximum operations per millisecond. Obviously, this is unacceptable. I loathe that, for now, our actions may aid the Protectorate, but we must protect the archive. Oh, this is most appreciated. Unfortunately, the previous repair personnel took the only repair kit I had on hand. I'll mark the coordinates of the resistor bank on your map, but locating the repair personnel will be up to you. If you find him, you find the kit. I hope. Otherwise, the repair will be most difficult. I'll guide you.
Your proposed time frame. Leisurely. Unaccountably so.
But going any faster grossly increases the threat of collapse. Burying us beneath the snow benefits no one.
So long as we are operating within the statistical parameters given to us. I see absolutely no reason.
Hello. Farewell. Thank you for this efficiently compact copy.
Have you at least determined the cause of the avalanche?
Presently observing a ceasefire with Auntie's choice, but its duration may be subject to sudden reversal. Would hate for you to get caught in a crossfire. Gathering data on the enemy's movements and behavior. Blizzards raise the degree of difficulty, but that's our problem, not yours. You sound like someone of paramount importance to the plan, so I won't keep you. But one more word of caution before you depart. Protectorate forces have amassed terrible numbers in and around the archive. You have to be witness to challenge such overwhelming strength, especially alone.
The archive's defenders shall fight to the last to keep us from gaining access. As they should. Perhaps the locals have a means of ingress that would minimize bloodshed.
You know, you strike me as someone with a very small body.
I've got your numeral. Keep moving.
show your work or shove off.
Laplace's garden is hardly better than a colony of sprats. And like a sprat colony, they'd react poorly to the presence of an exterminator. It may be best to leave me on the ship.
Heard that rift? Halt! The Oracle Laureate sent ahead to expect someone matching your description. However, he said nothing about admitting questionable allies. Protectorate are not permitted inside Laplace's garden. Your companion will have to wait outside.
Who are you, claiming to deny me ingress? The Protectorate's arbiters go wheresoever they deign.
Someone should have informed you, Arbiter. Cloister is not the domain of the Protectorate any longer.
I'm... what? Emotional support? You know, that has a nicer ring to it than I'd have surmised. I've never been emotional support before.
As likely as I find that theory, we have rules and regulations for a reason. We are at war, you might have noticed. The Oracle Laureate is our foremost seer, excluding the presiding bishop herself. He oversees the Department of Predictive Analysis, and in so doing keeps the Order on course. Indubitably, Laureate Beckett said to accommodate you as best as possible, but rules are rules. Is this some kind of test? No participants or observants are permitted to discuss Laplace's garden outside its boundaries. You'll discover all you need once inside, after ridding yourself of your problematic auxiliary, of course. Was there ambiguity in my previous warning?
Saving the delegates from DeVries took considerable effort, dear. You don't know that. They might still have a role to play if we're to close the rifts. As you wish. Try not to perish horribly without me.
I'm glad we made it off Greater Tranquility Station. Presumably the delegates did as well. I'm pleased we prevented their murder. But they remain my enemies, peddling a false peace. I only hope we do not pay for this decision in the future. But let us focus on the task at hand, saving Arcadia from the rifts. Understood. I shall await our next opportunity to venture forth together.
Ah, Agent, I have a message for you. On behalf of the Order of the Ascendant, and her impermeable wisdom, the presiding bishop Ruth Bassar, welcome to Laplace's garden. The presiding bishop is presently indisposed, but I've been instructed to direct you to the Artificer Laureate for whatever pressing matter has brought you to the garden. She's working in Belvedere Hall's secondary courtyard. Enter the large building at the top of the mesa ahead and follow the first hall on your right. Oh, yes. The vicar did ask me to direct you to him. How positively forgetful of me. He should be waiting for you in Belvedere Hall's main courtyard at the top of the stairs. The Artificer Laureate is head of the Department of Applied Scientism, overseeing the exemplars, or craftsmen, of our order. Weapons and technology all fall under her purview. Oh no, not at all. The presiding bishop routinely spends time in a sensory deprivation chamber to hone her mental faculties. Of course, she does seem to be logging more hours in the chamber of late, but I'm certain that's all part of the plan. The rest of the Laureate Council is capable of managing affairs while the presiding bishop is occupied. Really, it's no reason for concern. Nothing in the garden is. Look around you. I don't see a battlefield. Do you? All conflict is transient in nature. To dwell on the negativity of a moment is to risk missing the opportunity of what comes next. Those in the garden have enough perspective to remain present and to focus on what matters: science and progress. It may seem like I'm speaking from a position of luxury and privilege, but it is a privilege the Order hopes to share with all one day. But now, I fear I have kept you long past an ideal duration. May all your problems precede solutions.
Cutting you off there, Charles. That's your third conviction today. People, welcome to the CAF integration point. Will it be caffeine or convictions today? Convictions are statements which promote personal and professional confidence and well-being, leading to 22.9% more scientific breakthroughs in a given quarter. Interested? Let's start with one and see how it takes. Before I can administer your conviction, I need to ask you a question. In what area of your life do you feel you need the most improvement? Personal or professional? Expand on that for me. Oh, well, that's certainly specific. Your contributions to the plan will one day progress beyond increasing the rate of the universe's natural state of entropy. Is that right? You'd be the first to admit as much. You know, I'm actually nearing the end of my shift. If you're amenable to continuing our chat somewhere more private, I think we could both benefit. Right this way. You must be curious why I asked for such a discreet rendezvous. Dear me. I hope you weren't expecting some illicit tryst. You wicked thing. On the contrary, I need your help proving a certain theory of mine. I have adequate reason to believe the Order is conducting a mass experiment on the population of Laplace's garden. You might put down your proverbial hand once you hear the specifics. The Order is not cultivating its perfect, plan-abiding society through careful ideological pruning, as the laureates would have you believe. It's simple pharmacology. Put bluntly, they're regulating the emotions of everyone in Laplace's garden through drugs in the water supply. Why would the Order want to create a society of undistractable little academics whose only desire is to advance the plan? I wonder. I'm limiting my water intake and using other pharmaceuticals to combat the effects. It's not a perfect system, but it works adequately enough. Moderate your volume, please! No one here is in any immediate peril. Probably. The Order claims the subjects here supposedly consented to participate, but it was begun prior to the schism with the Protectorate, so who's to say? Regardless, if the Order has made some kind of pharmaceutical breakthrough, imagine how useful it might be to certain parties to know about it in advance. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? So you've heard of us. Good. That makes this easier. My primary task has been to watch the Order. But I'm confident my superiors would agree. Physical proof is of far greater value than mere rumor. Nothing nefarious, if that's the needle in your conscience. We only mean to study the drug and consider all of its many applications. I know that must read as terribly vague to you, but I'm not at liberty to provide more detail than that. All you need to do is enter water reconditioning and collect a sample of the drug. I believe they call it perspective. This passcode will give you access to the main terminal. Watch the guards patrol before making your way into the facility. If worst comes to worst, I wager Laureate Beckett also has a keycard on him, but that might be tricky to lift. Lately, he's been sitting near the fountains, performing his silly little breathing exercises. If he's not there, then he's likely in conference with the presiding bishop. Whatever you do, be discreet. I can't have any laureates asking questions about me. Understood? It's too diluted by the time it enters circulation. I need the unfiltered drug, which is only accessible to those working in water reconditioning. Outside of work, I have, let's call it an alternative inventory. You'll have to pay, of course, but I'm sure I have something that'll make your job a little easier. And I'd like to offload some of this merchandise. Sounds like a win-win.
Oh, hello. Welcome to Caff Integration Point. I'm Junior Caffeine Celebrant Runch, and I'll be happy to assist you today. Certainly. Here you are. Please imbibe responsibly. Oh, she's a real top-of-class type. Smart, but also patient. I struggle sometimes with my advanced courses, but Persephone's been tutoring me after work hours. Everyone is entitled to their own hypotheses. Anyway, I'd hate to waste any more of your free study period with my idle thoughts. Anything else I can help with? Apologies. As a junior celebrant, I'm only permitted to distribute caffeine at this time. But my colleague, Miss Doyle, will be able to assist with convictions when she's back on shift.
On a scale of 1 to 100... How pleased are you with the garden in its current state? Try to capture your exact satisfaction to the nearest 10th integer.
What a lamentable state of affairs. I remember the days when Laplace's garden lived up to its estimable purpose. Now look at it. The fountain in disrepair, pedagogy in the park, even the lights above our heads have winked out like stars taken down from the sky. Imagine if your life depended on a surgeon who was practically perfect. Such a qualifier might dilute your confidence then, Nevertheless, one must persist. The plan is good. The shadow of ignorance cannot withstand its light. Oh, I couldn't say. This isn't my college, as it were. I'm a vicar. I tend to people's philosophical needs and leave the management of the garden to others. Oh, no? What a tremendous disappointment. Perhaps in time you will acquire the necessary skills and return. Or someone else will come along, as is the way of things.
The plan is always in motion, so move along.
A second makeup exam will not be offered, so I hope you studied this time, Briar. You may begin now.
Right. No pressure.
Did you know around 1,000 species of bacteria live on human skin? A fascinating, if not relevant, bit of trivia. Wouldn't you agree? And prodding me was intended to elicit what result, exactly? At any rate, I am quite conscious, merely waiting. I have no idea Sometime last year, I predetermined an occasion of momentous import would happen today, right here, at these very coordinates. Unclear. I'm inclined to think this conversation may contain some portentous value, but I'll need to run a few more calculations to be sure. Leslie Beckett, Oracle Laureate, Seer Supreme, leader of the Department of Predictive Analysis, and not terribly good at informal introductions, evidently. Forgive me if I don't shake hands. I prefer to keep my skin microbiome free of exogenetic cells. You understand? But now, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the agent we've been expecting. I knew loitering at this location would yield results. I don't suppose you've stumbled upon any of our excogitation chapels around Cloister by chance? Excogitation chapels are order residencies where one can meditate in solitude on specific theorems relating to the plan. They're scattered all around Cloister. Prior to the war, such focused study led to all manner of breakthroughs, with audio logs routinely kept by the scientician in residence. In these unprecedented times, such logs could harbor hidden wisdom. However, with the war on, I've sadly been unable to get my hands on the last of these recordings. All confidential, I'm afraid. Many are still under peer review, but I can assure you, their value is commensurate with, why, the discovery of gravity, or has the potential to be. Oh no, I couldn't possibly ask you to endanger yourself by seeking out these logs. Cloister is rather treacherous, and some of the chapels are difficult to reach by design. However, if you happened upon these chapels and recovered these logs, I would most certainly be interested in their contents. By my reckoning, the amount of logs to be collected is 4. You have that? 4. No more, no less. Each chapel should have at least one somewhere inside. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Impossible, I'm afraid. The Protectorate is rather well entrenched at present, and nothing short of an all-out siege is likely to dislodge them. If you're determined, I recommend consulting with the presiding bishop on the matter. She can tell you more. How do you know about that? I mean, that is quite the allegation. I deny it effusively. I've already lost enough enamel to age. Thank you very much. First, answer me this. What is your interest in this matter? As much as I relish the idea of entrusting a stranger with sensitive and potentially incendiary information, I shall have to decline further comment. Perhaps if you were to help me out with recovering those logs I asked for, I could be more amenable to sharing knowledge, but let's put a pin in that for now, shall we? If there's nothing else, I would like to return to my deep breathing exercises. Don't we all? Nothing beyond what I already included in my 165-page summary of the incident. Why do you ask? Oh, I know, hardly comprehensive. I'm embarrassed by the brevity, but I haven't more time to devote to it at present. Of course I do. That is precisely why my energy is better channeled toward the future, to ensure such tragic events never happen again. Landon Wiley was afflicted by that which strickens all scholars, the desire to effect change, to advance the plan at any cost. Were his methods wrong? Unequivocally. Should he have come to me with his concerns? Undeniably. But was his conclusion categorically sound? That remains debatable. Generally, yes. Although it's important to remember that unexpected outcomes can still arise from failed experiments. But let's move on to other topics, please. All this fractious talk is giving me a stomachache and... Oh, I just got rid of the last one.
For pity's sake, is it the pump or the sealant? Industrial science is mostly theory, they said. You won't have to put your knowledge into practice for years, they said. Now the fountain's broken and I can't... Useless. I'm useless. If you're here to proctor my bi-weekly patient screening, might I ask that we reschedule? We had an avalanche recently not far from the dome. One of these fountains stopped working around the same time. Stands to reason something must have been jostled loose. I recently placed into the industrial sciences, so I've been entrusted to fix the issue. But I've never had to put my knowledge into application before. It's not going well. You must be an agent of the architect. The panel here controls the intake and outtake for the fountains. I'd start there. Oh, praise the architect. I hear water running. Come see, it's beautiful! I'd provide compensation, but isn't the garden's beautification a reward in and of itself?
The scientician's surplus. No more than what you need.
Welcome to the Scientician Surplus. I am the scientician in question. Any inquiries about the stock may be directed to me. Either you intend to buy or you intend to go without. It would be unethical for me to interfere with your decision-making process. It's there in the name, surplus. Of course you would.
Don't bother conversating unless you're prepared to cite your sources.
How did your hypothesis about the flowers fare?
Exposing them to melodic sound waves on a consistent basis did affect improvements on their overall growth.
Can't talk. Calculating an inverse complex sine function in my head.
day, Tridius. The operating theater is not conducting viewing dissections at this time. That is not an invitation to return to your study and perform exploratory surgery on yourself or a willing volunteer, just to be clear. There is curiosity, and there is recklessness. I've learned not to trust the younger, more inexperienced members of our order to know the difference. But I trust you are here for a reason other than to discuss scalpel-happy novices. Obviously. Do you think we drink unfiltered snow melt? I'm quite sure I have no knowledge of what you're talking about. Are you feeling all right? Paranoia can be an early symptom of several more serious diseases. Apologies. I have so little that meets the threshold of my expertise. But I should not be projecting my wish for a challenge onto a patient. Let's forget this conversation. Is there anything else I can assist you with? That is best answered through observation. Here, have a look. Good timing. I just finished sterilizing my instruments. It doesn't change much these days.
Stop deviating from the baseline.
Lift access is currently restricted. Keep moving. Hey! Only security personnel are permitted in this booth. At this time, residents of Laplace's garden are not permitted beyond this point.
Agent, over here. Well, this is a welcome confluence of events. Why, without you, Gertie and I wouldn't be alive. And any hope of peace between the Order and Auntie's choice would be over. Shame about all the disorder. The negotiations had not been going as smoothly as I'd hoped, it's true, but we were making progress. Despite the inherent complexity of such disparate factors converging, I do not share your pessimism. Peace talks between the Order and Auntie's choice have admittedly stalled. However, Gertie and I have kept up communication through back channels, in hopes to reconvene discussions. To begin, I believe you would need to put forth efforts in good faith with each of the two groups. Earning the trust of both sides is essential. Once you've worked your way up to meeting our respective leaders, you must convince them to consider joining forces. Caution is the sign of a rational mind, my friend. Would it help to know that I have the utmost faith in our bishop to convince Auntie of the error of her corporate ways? Well, then, may I ask you to consider the fact that ending the conflict between us would have untold benefits for all Arcadia? The suffering inflicted by this war would be over. For one, having the allied might of their forces at your back when facing down the Protectorate. If that's not sufficient, perhaps some additional incentive could also be provided. And if you might consider an appeal to your better nature, ending the conflict between Auntie's choice and the Order would have untold benefits for all Arcadia. Transplendent. Remember, seek out ways to help both sides. Engender trust. Gertie and I can let you know when it's time to move forward. In the meantime, I might recommend you work on honing your oratory skills. Our presiding bishop and Auntie Cleo can be challenging to debate with.
Your admittance to the Chamber of Conflict Evaluation and Strategic Planning may come at a later date, as determined by the Office of the Oracle Laureate.
A visitor? It's for the best that you're talking to me now instead of mid-work. I do seem to have a slight propensity for stabbing randomly with my tools when interrupted, but I suppose that's enough time spinning in the statements column. Speak away. What are you... Beckett. Another prediction that he hasn't seen fit to notify me about. A more cynical exemplar might posit his doing this to be intentional. If you're here, I imagine you aim to petition the presiding bishop for her support, which is hardly a surprise. She is the most important individual in Arcadia. Not if I cannot gauge for certain if you can be trusted. I cannot allow just anyone to wander into Ruth's quarters. But there is something you could do to prove yourself worthy. A myriad of cultists have taken over the settlement of Newton, which is a nearby site of historical but not strategic significance. I want them gone. Once there was a bridge stretching from the settlement to the archive, but it was destroyed by a rift. Best keep your distance should you travel there. From what I understand, Vicar Levin's continued existence is a mere side effect of whatever personal vendetta you happen to be attending to. I'm pleased he does not lie among the ranks of the dead. But I will need a more tangible effort on your part to trust you. If the Order could predict the future infallibly, my mentors would be alive. Seers become less accurate, the more specific and more distant the prediction. All that aside, you shall need the Order's trust if you wish to see Ruth. This task will allow that. Journey to Newton. Eliminate the cultists to a person. Then we may speak of getting you an audience with Ruth. You're results-oriented. I can understand that. Fine. Expect a tangible reward on top of the Order's goodwill. Newton contains the Six Pillars Chantry, which was one of the first temples founded after Arcadia's colonization. It's over 100 years old. The cultists are likely profaning it. But even if they aren't, I don't want them there. Our loss of Newton is symbolic. If we cannot protect it, how can we protect Arcadia? I'll withhold my appreciation until this task is complete. May you act within the equation's confines.
Outsider?
Well, I'll be hanged. At the pitter of footsteps at my door, I expected another Order ankle nipper, bent on furthering my disquietude. Philo Tresmer, Protectorate Wordsman at Arms. Mercenary, eh? Your demeanor speaks for itself. In a different life, we might have been enemies. But as far as I'm concerned, anyone here not a traitorous, thrice-damned scientist is a compatriot of mine. That strain of thinking is what brought us into this mess in the first place. All science wreaks is destruction, and the Order gleefully brings about as much. Listen, you. The Protectorate does not do delegation. The Protectorate has a will that must be upheld. My presence here is a display of more faith than these fools deserve. Niceties are irrelevant, and likely detrimental to the task at hand. I am here to make the Order see the error of their ways. All other particulates are frivolous. I am not just anyone. The duty of a liaison is of the utmost importance, requiring due diligence and delicacy. Though I suppose it a mite strange that this task fell to me, as I'd urge the vehement tanning of any wayward body bent on disrespecting the Protectorate. As of yet, that does not include the other Protectorate personnel I've encountered on Cloister, even though they seem loyal to the Consul above all else. The Consul is intended to supplement the Sovereign's rule, acting as a spy master and war coordinator. But of late, he has been overactive. The consul is doing his duty, but I'm concerned that the people may begin to look to him for guidance instead of the sovereign. I've heard rumors of late that a foolish minority has become skeptical of the sovereign's leadership. Madness, I say. We must have faith. Hate is an inaccurate phrase. I find them arrogant and exasperating. Without the Protectorate, this little organization would have no holdings to squat in. I am here because the Sovereign has tasked me with bringing these wayward, pretentious toddlers back into the Protectorate fold. Unfortunately, my time here has taught me that only mass death has the power to change the local hearts and minds. Perhaps enough will be alive to save afterwards.
I always find I work best when undistracted. One could say I find the cultist at Newton quite the interruption to my focus. Now, how might we be of use to one another?
I hope you have good news for me. I knew I had the right person for the job. You've saved me quite the headache. Your reward, as promised. Aw, wondering if you'll ever see me again? Precious. I'll remain in the garden a little while longer, but it would be best if we limited contact with one another. No offense. But who knows? The plan mystifies even the greatest minds. Perhaps our paths will intersect again someday.
See that spire? That's the archive right there. The archive.
These temporary indignities of the body are nothing contrasted to the Order's future. Keep those eyes open, soldiers. Corneal thrust lightning there.
Personalized order prediction yet. I'll admit to a bit of trepidation in regards to opening mine. Use caution as I progress. There's been reports of horse clones in the area.
On the authority of the sovereign!
Soldier, please assess your pain on a variable scale of 1 to 100, with 1 being entirely pain-free and 100 being the worst pain you can imagine.
There is far too much variability in the...
Sorry to cut you off, but I'm encumbered with various concerns of the existential variety.
Keep your digits where I can see them.
Yeah.
Do you see these magnificent weapons? They have the greatest destructive potential the Protectorate can bring to bear. Tell me then, why should they not have been installed here?
Not an issue of ammunition.
Protectorate ignored our warning repeatedly.
Instances like this are they reasons for the
Correct. And every turn we tried to guide them with logic and reason. They could not have their own hubris. They architect we are no longer. It has the Anti's Choice logo on it. Oh, architect service.
Damn antis and their propaganda. Take this, you piece of poorly designed refuse! Take this! You there. If you happen to be headed into Protectorate territory, can you keep your lamps open for my scouts? That squad should have reported back hours ago. You there. If you happen to be headed into Protectorate territory, can you keep your lamps open for my scouts? That squad should have reported back hours ago. Stop deviating from the baseline.
I can't go back out there. I feel like I'm going to succumb to panic.
All of you reinforcements from the Plaza's guard are acting like spirits rats.
Combatant scan. I have a fix on their weaknesses. Locking them down. Purification in progress.
Failing.
Target analyzed. Check your scopes for combatant analysis.
Time to punish.
confirmed. Status currently prostrate.
Adversary vulnerabilities identified. I have a fix on their weaknesses. Stun weapon ready, Commander. Adversary vulnerabilities identified.
I was not for which is most embarrassing.
Hostilities are afoot. Target analyzed.
Lethal measures at the ready, Commander.
Check your scopes for combatant analysis. Investigating hostile intentions.
Your judgment!
Reason's pass is off limits. Unwelcome guests will be ushered from existence promptly and without further ado. First, it was Auntie's choice, then the Protectorate. After that, some damned cultists. I don't even know what group you hullheads belong to. Don't care either. Your motivation is available to me in only the vaguest abstract.
Proceeding to attack. Combatants standing by to speak. Adversary vulnerabilities identified. Check your scope for combatant analysis.
Wait, that's not who I think it is it? Marisol? Is that you? Get in here before any more of these hullheads show up. Yeah. You're here. That is assuming you're not some sort of enigmatic mirage or baleful apparition. I thought I would never see you again. It's been what? 19 years? 20?
21 years, 5 months.
6 days. I've kept up on a few former colleagues.
A few? Right. You retain a different admirer in every port, I'm sure.
Things were left in a...
It was somewhat complicated, even by order standards. Oh, wait, I'm being rude. Forgive my atrophied social graces. I shoot most of my visitors lately. I am Anais Boujold. Welcome to my backwater ramshackle abode.
Seer Anais Boujold.
No one's called me that in, well, you know exactly how long, apparently.
Arbiter Tristan Rao. Suffice it to say, I'm more pleased to meet a former seer than an active one.
Charmed, I'm sure. So nice to see Marisol gaining such interesting friends.
Yes. With ample time to think, I've come to recognize I made an error.
Really? That is, an unprecedented statement for you. But do go ahead, I'm listening.
The last 20 years, the Order needlessly, heedlessly stumbled. First, Antes invaded, then the Protectorate. We lost the Archive. Twice. Had your work continued, I believe we'd have remained closer to our true path. If I had ignored the Council's command. It was a mistake. I miscalculated.
If not for you, I'd be dead right now. And you were right to shut me down. My research was dangerous. A serious threat to the entire universe. I know this for certain now. I've run the numbers. Repeatedly. To be clear, I didn't complete the research, but I wanted to know. I had to know if the Council's judgment was correct. I calculated what might occur if my work was completed, and there is a troublingly high, statistically significant chance of things ending. Everything ending. Turns out a little knowledge is, in fact, a dangerous thing. I understand how that sounds, but I have spent years checking and rechecking each and every variable. I assume all my notes and calculations were destroyed years ago.
Anais, I'm afraid it's not that simple. When we shut down your work, it was quarantined, not disposed of. The Order stores all avenues of study deemed dangerous near here at a facility in Winter's Grasp. Unorthodox notion reclusion.
Of all the bureaucratic... No. Winter's Grasp is crawling with Auntie's choice. A full unit just moved in. Marisol, will you... Can you...
You're asking me to infiltrate a covert installation to destroy something that could likely end the universe. Been years since anyone said something like that to me. Of course.
I was developing a means of sidestepping much of the presumed requirements to solve the universal equation, using a series of reasoned shortcuts and educated postulations, filling in certain blanks, trillions. Theoretically, it would hurry the process along so it could be solved in our lifetime, but it was unorthodox, risky if taken too far. I knew the Council would judge it mathematical heresy, so I attempted to work in secret. Eventually, I was discovered, excommunicated, sent here.
Others facing similar charges were often transferred off-planet, then simply disappeared somewhere along the way.
Yes. Fortunately, someone interceded. I might need a little time to ready this place for unwelcome guests. Wouldn't take long.
No, you should stay here. We'll take care of this.
I foresee a 4.7% chance of me complying with that. But fine, no use arguing. Well, this has certainly been nice. Perhaps we'll see each other again sometime. Yes, should be plenty of wonderfully dangerous items in here.
Get your Greenaton! At your word!
Target analyzed. Let down fire. Hostilities are afoot. Have a fix on their weaknesses. Adversary vulnerabilities identified. Target analyzed.
Big regret this coming here.
Violence. Fortificator is charged.
I despise that thievery! And yet I
Check your scopes for combatant analysis. Combatant scan. Freeze!